Hey guys, it's Kevin Ginsberg for this week of Big Brother 17, episodes 27 through 29, and this really wasn't that eventful of a week. It really wasn't. I mean, maybe next week will be better, but this week in general just wasn't very eventful, and that's in terms of who won HOH and things like that. Now, this was definitely a huge week because we knew that the person that, left the house this week could potentially get back into the house, and I think that definitely, made things very interesting to see. But this was kind of a one of the more slower weeks, kind of like last week. Let's just get into it because there's a lot to talk about in terms, but also there's not a lot to talk about. We'll get into that. So basically, of course, we left off on the Ready, Set, Go competition, which, as I said, I think it was a really cool competition the way it was done. It's something different. I like that they're trying to do different competitions because people have complained that they keep reusing the same competitions, and I kind of like that they're doing new things. But basically, Austin ends up winning HOH, which, okay. But, this was probably the one person that really didn't need the HOH. Like, if you could have picked out of the, 8 or 7 people that are left, who doesn't need HOH, the most, it's Austin. Austin definitely did not need HOH this week, and mostly because he's allied with nearly everyone, and he's in the most awkward position possible. I mean, he kept saying in, his diary rooms, the most awkward HOH ever. It really was. I mean, just seeing him, just having to pick someone based on, oh, who am I not allied with? Because he's allied with everyone, and obviously, he's not going to target Liz. He's not going to target the twins. But I thought he was going to target James and Meg. That probably would have been the smart thing to do, honestly. Because James and Meg are very powerful. I know people are saying, oh, Meg, how is she powerful? Meg is powerful in the sense that James will have her back. If something were to happen to Meg, James would do whatever he can to fight for her and get her off the block. So as long as they're in the house, they're kind of unstoppable at this point. So honestly, if I was Austin, I would have put up James and Meg. The reason Austin doesn't put them up is simply because he enjoys their time, which I understand, but that's just shows how much of an idiot Austin is. I'm sorry, Austin's an idiot. If you don't believe me, read his HOH blog. It's literally just him, I just came here to play a game, and then Liz came into my life, and everything changed. It literally looks like one of those poems you would read if you're a kid who's this kid has his first love and doesn't really understand love, but thinks this is his true love and is gonna be with her forever. That's what his HOH blog seemed like to me. It was ridiculous. I thought it was really stupid. One of the stupidest things I've ever written. I've ever read. Definitely, I thought it was really stupid. Austin's HOH. But basically, every single diary room in Sunday night's episode was pretty much Austin. It was pretty crazy. He definitely is in this difficult position, though. So he doesn't want to get rid of James and Meg. That's what he plans on doing. But he does say that he's not going to let Vanessa basically control his HOH. He's not going to let her do that because of the fact that he knows that he kind of wants to use Vanessa as a backdoor option. So he, at this point, has 3 alliances going on. He has, of course, Austin's Angels with him, Liz, Julia, and Vanessa. He also has Brass Tacks with Meg and James. Also Scamper Squad with Steve, and then a potential 5-person alliance with Steve and Johnny Mac. So obviously, he's really torn right now, not really knowing what to do, and it was very interesting to watch, definitely. It was very interesting. You see Liz and Austin are getting closer as well, which, okay, that was fine. But what I thought was kind of interesting is I couldn't really tell where Austin's head was at. That was really my problem with him this week, is that you can't really tell all week where Austin's head is. I mean, he doesn't seem to have a set target. He didn't even know what he was doing. I mean, first he's like, oh, I'm not going to ally with Vanessa. But then he's like, I'm only going to tell Vanessa this. And I'm like, if you want to get her out, why would you tell her what you're doing? That's what I don't understand. That's, I think, is something that I don't understand at all. The thing with Austin and the twins is that if they really want to get rid of Vanessa, why are you telling her what you're doing? Don't include her in conversations, okay? only include her when you have to. That's what I say. Like, if you have someone that you want to get out and you know who your target is, like, say your target was Vanessa, you should include her out of all conversations. Just don't even talk to her. Talk to her when you have to, and talk to her when she walks into a room, but don't pull her into a conversation. Don't say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Don't do that, because then they'll think that it's just, I don't think that's a good idea at all, and it's really stupid. And I thought that that was probably one of the worst moves that Austin could have made, is keep this alliance with Vanessa. He probably should have only, included her when she walked into a room. And, he's really torn at this point, and it was really strange, definitely. So Johnny Mac and Steve, in the meantime, are basically trying to figure out who's going to leave. They're trying to do whatever they can. We don't see much of Johnny Mac this week. And I'm going to explain why. A lot of people are saying, oh, Johnny Mac was an idiot and that he should have fought more. I think Johnny Mac is to the point where he knew he was going. He knew that he was a target, and I don't think he really wanted to do anything about it, because I think he simply is just, like, done at this point. He's said what he needed to say. He's tried to get rid of Vanessa. He's, he hasn't really been able to do anything, and they're all pissed at him. They're basically all pissed at him because he said he was going to get rid of Vanessa, and he never really did anything about it. First of all, that was not Johnny Mac's decision. He was never HOH. He's tried to win HOH. He's been very close to it 2 times so far, and I definitely see a situation where Johnny Mac could end up winning HOH in the future, which we will get into that. But, basically, Johnny Mac is really, he doesn't really seem to want to do anything, and that's what's going on there. So, Austin, basically, being the idiot that he is, decides to put up Johnny Mac and Steve, and he told Steve that he wasn't going to put him up, and that he was thinking of putting up Vanessa. And what he does, I did think it was smart what he did to Vanessa. He made her think that he would jokingly put her up when he actually isn't jokingly going to put her up. He actually is serious about it. My thing here is, though, why would you put her up then? Put her up for backdoor, because she could get POV, and we know that she's very good at doing that. So, I don't think that was a good move on Austin's part. I think this whole week, just Austin should have had a set target and really didn't. I understand he was allied with everyone, and he didn't want to get blood in his hands, but at least have a set target. That's the thing. You gotta have a set target, and no, he's distracted by Liz. That's what he cares about at this point. It's just Liz. And, basically, that's what ends up happening there. He puts up Johnny Mac and Steve, gives probably the most, like, out there, HOH speech I've ever heard in a nomination speech. It was very, very strange. Him just talking like Judas. Now, I did hear that basically this was his speech that he was going to give to Vanessa, but he was just like, fuck it, I'm going to give it to them anyway, and that's what he did. He gave it to them for no reason, and that's basically what happened with that. So, yeah, pretty much nothing happened in the Sunday episode. Not much happened in the Wednesday episode very much either. Although I will say the thing I was looking forward to the most was the return of Zingbot. I was definitely looking forward to seeing how Zingbot would be, him returning. But let's talk about this. So, basically, Wednesday night's episode, obviously, Steve's really upset because he told Austin specifically, don't put me up, and Austin did put him up, and he wants to do whatever he can to get off the block, as well as Johnny Mac. But Johnny Mac's, basically doesn't care to get Steve off the block. He wants to get himself off the block, obviously. That's what he mainly wants to do. Johnny Mac, though, didn't really seem to want to do anything this week, and neither did Steve, and I don't really know what it is, really, why they didn't really try to do anything, but they really didn't. And now let's get to what I actually really do want to talk about, which is, because nothing really happens, which we will get into. Well, stuff happens after the POV, but other than that, nothing really happens up to that. Stuff does happen with the Zingbot. Now, the Zingbot is something that I definitely look forward to every season. It's always fun to see the Zingbot zing the house guests. I think it's cool that the Zingbot does have a Twitter. I heard it really sucks what he's been saying, though. Like, he's been roasting some of the past house guests, and they're not really funny. They're kind of lame. And I have to say, yeah, some of these zings were kind of lame. I really did not like a lot of them. I don't know if the Zingbot's losing his style, but I did kind of like that he's newly Zingle. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was, really funny. The thing with Zinder, I thought that was really clever. Definitely. Zinder, what they get a lot of these house guests on, because there are rumors that Becky was a house guest they found on Tinder. There is that. We all know that theory. But basically, I thought some of the zings were really lame. I will say there were some good ones, but like Meg's was like rehash of Donnie's last year. James's I thought was pretty good with him wanting to be with Meg, but Meg was going to put him into the friend zone. I thought that was pretty funny. Vanessa's I didn't think was funny at all. I really didn't, okay? Yeah, Zingbot, she cries, whatever. That's like, what else is new? Seriously, she cries every day. What else is new? There's nothing new to that. Johnny Max, I thought they just could have come up with something better. Like, they could have done something with him yelling in the diary room or him sleeping all the time. There could have been something better. The ones I really did like, I really liked James, as I said. I really loved, Steve's I didn't really like. I gotta say, I thought Steve's was really lame. I didn't like Steve's at all. Julia's, I thought was interesting, because it started off as a zing for Liz, and then it was like, oh, you know, talking about all the flaws that Liz has was actually Julia, and I'm just sitting there like, Julia's the intelligent, isn't Julia supposed to be the intelligent one, and Liz is supposed to be the ditzy one? Like, hello, what are you doing? But then things get really crazy, because the Zingbot then talks about Austin having a girlfriend in front of Liz, which Liz did not know about, and makes some hilarious stuff between Liz and Austin, because Liz is like, how can I do this? How can, you know, you smell really bad, and because Zingbot gave Austin the zing that he smells really bad, and whatever, but basically Liz is saying that he smells really bad, and that she's dating someone who has a girlfriend. And I'm pretty sure that those two have broken up. I think Austin has said before on the live feeds that they're not together anymore. It was still pretty funny to watch. I mean, they made it really dramatic, but because it's Liz and Austin, I just find it hilarious. I really do. Like I said, you guys, I like Liz and Austin? No. Are they entertaining as hell to watch? Yes. They're entertaining because they're really stupid, they're really dumb, and they're really fun to watch at points. So, I definitely like watching Liz and Austin. So basically, then we get to the veto competition, which I definitely really enjoyed. My only flaw with this is I don't understand why they would let the others see their time not after the competition, because that really gives a strategy of just to the other house guests of just try to beat the other's one's time. And that can really distract you, that can make you not as into it, that can make you just think, okay, I just gotta beat them, I just gotta get a lesser time than that, and that really makes you rush the competition and not do nearly as well as you want to. So I really wasn't a fan of them showing their times and, you know, them seeing what they need to beat. I definitely did not like that. First, it looked like Julia was going to win for a while. I was happy that Julia did finally get to play in a POV, because she had been horribly sidelined all this time and has not gotten to play POV all season, and finally she gets to play POV, so that was really cool. But basically, Vanessa does end up winning POV, whatever, and basically now they're in this position where they want to get rid of Vanessa, and they couldn't. My thought would have been to backdoor James. That probably would have been the best thing for them to do. Not, you know, for Vanessa not to use the power of veto to save someone, you know, and then put up James. I think that would have been very smart for them to do. I honestly feel they should have done that, because James, honestly, is a big threat to their game. I don't think they realize how big of a threat James is. James is a person where I think if he wins HOH, he's definitely going after them. He's definitely going to go after Austin the Twins. He's definitely going to go after Vanessa. That's how this is going to go, and I think that definitely is very interesting. Now, I will say Vanessa is a very good player. I definitely will say that. In the way that, you know, Austin the Twins want nothing to do with her, and then all of a sudden they're now pulled back into this alliance, and Vanessa's kind of running his HOH, which is the exact opposite of what Austin didn't want. Well, excuse me, Judas wanted her to do. There's no difference, seriously. I read Austin's HOH blog. He's like, Judas is the person that's emotional. Judas is the person that, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. If Judas is the evil twin, Judas should have no emotions. I mean, I don't even think Austin knows who Judas is. That's what I've come to that conclusion, that Austin doesn't even know who Judas is, and yeah, that's kind of the realization that I've come to. But basically, Vanessa, what ends up happening is she basically now is running Austin's HOH. I mean, last night's episode kind of felt like the Vanessa show. I mean, I even forgot that Austin was HOH. If you wouldn't have told me that Austin was HOH, I wouldn't have believed it. If you would have told me that Vanessa was HOH, I would have believed it, because she was running his HOH, and it seemed like she was the HOH here. But basically, things get really intense once Johnny Mac basically decides to tell Vanessa about this 5-person alliance that, of course, he had with Liz, Julia, and Austin. Now, basically what ended up happening with this, they did not show this, but basically the reason that Vanessa was so upset about this is because she had told Liz, Julia, and Austin to make a fake alliance with Johnny Mac and Steve, but they did it behind her back, and obviously she's really pissed about it, and she wants to know who started it. And I'm just thinking, you're the one that started it, like, you're the one that told them to do it, and she's accusing Steve of doing it, and it's really funny to watch. I mean, her just accusing Steve, wanting nothing to do with him. I definitely really enjoyed watching it, and anytime Vanessa cries, I just start laughing. It's really funny to just see her cry. So basically, Vanessa ends up not using the power of veto. I thought it was a pretty good speech that she did, and she ends up not using it on either of them, and pretty much Austin just wastes his HOH, as did Vanessa. That's the thing. You wasted your HOH. You could have backdoored someone. Honestly, they should have taken an opportunity to backdoor James. Now, if Vanessa really wanted to do some damage, she should have backdoored, like, Liz or Julia, because she had the potential to do that. Austin would have been pissed out of his mind, but I think that if she really wanted to do that, she could do that, honestly. Like, if she... We'll get into, like, who won HOH and things like that, but if she really wants to do that, I think, honestly, if she really wants to if she really wants to go after them, she should do it, because I don't think Austin and the twins will take her to the Final Four. Do I want Vanessa to win? No. Is she a good player? Yes. Does she have some flaws? Definitely. She has a lot of flaws. There's some things I definitely don't understand. I do pretty much think this confirms that her crying is real, and that it is completely emotional, and that's a good thing to have emotions in the game, but the best players really just don't even have emotions, like Dr. Will, Dan, even Derek. I mean, a lot of what he said wasn't true and things like that. So I think really when you go into the game, you shouldn't worry about emotions. You shouldn't take things personally. You really shouldn't. I mean, I know... it's hard to, if you're like going to the house, I know it's different from what, when you go into the house, it's different, but still, you should try to not be as emotional, because it's just better for your game overall. So that really is what happens there. We get into tonight's episode, and really not much happened. Liz talks to Johnny Mac, telling him that she's really upset that he told Vanessa about the 5-person alliance, and Vanessa's trying to question Steve about, the 5-person alliance, things like that. That's really all that happens. Really not much else happens in this episode. Basically, what ends up happening now, I am going to get into, basically they have a very tough decision, because they can't decide on if they want to get rid of Johnny Mac or Steve, and we do see more Captain Camo segments of James scaring Julia, which is very funny to watch. I definitely enjoy watching it. It's very funny, and I will admit I enjoy watching that. I think, and again, some people are getting tired of it, but I think they're just doing it to show that James is just having fun in the house, and that's kind of why Austin wants to keep him around, just to have fun. And James is just the kind of guy that's just, he wants to have fun. I mean, when he's not in power, he wants to have fun, and I think he's dominating the game. Honestly, I think James has a very good chance of winning. If they do not get James out by, I'd say, next week, which is a double eviction, which I'm going to get into that, guys. Which you guys know, since it's double eviction next week, I will be reviewing what happens on Sunday and Wednesday on Wednesday. So that's what I'm going to do with that. But if James does not leave by next week's double eviction, I think James has a good chance of winning this whole thing. I honestly do, and I think that is very much what's going to happen with James if he doesn't leave by the double eviction. So basically, what ends up happening after this is Johnny Mac, basically, they were so torn between Johnny Mac and Steve. They were even going to do a rock, paper, scissors, shoot. They didn't show this on the episode, but I know that they were going to do this because I heard about it in the live feeds. They were even thinking of having Johnny Mac and Steve do rock, paper, scissors to see who would leave. Now, this could have been a really interesting idea. It's really stupid, but but they actually had a reason for doing this. Their reasoning behind this was simply that they didn't want to get it, they didn't want to fracture any alliances. They didn't want to be the ones to make the decision, and I think it's a pretty interesting way of doing that. Let's not make the decision ourselves. We don't really know what we're going to do. Let's have the 2 nominees make the decision, and that's what we'll do. We'll just do it based on what the 2 nominees does, and I thought that could have been a cool idea, but that's not what they do. They do the regular, I vote to evict this person, and Johnny Mac does end up leaving, and I know you guys are like, well, why aren't you upset about this? Because Johnny Mac really didn't do anything, and I don't really care that Johnny Mac left. He did nothing this week. I wish he would have done more, and I'm honestly kind of upset with Johnny Mac with what he did. I wish he would have done more in this game. I really do. I understand that he wants to lay low, but you can't do that anymore. You can't. We now have like a month left of this game. I mean, we are a month from this game ending. This week, next month, is when the game ends altogether. So, Johnny Mac, I just wish he could have done more. And he even said in his exit interview with Julie that he wants to go after Meg. Now, a lot of people are really pissed about what Johnny Mac is saying and thinking that this is ridiculous and that he should not have said that. Let me talk about why I think this is actually a pretty good idea. Like I said, Meg and James are just like that. They will always stick together. They'll always stick together. There's nothing that will break them apart unless one of them leaves. If you get Meg out, James has a better chance, I think, of leaving, because again, if James were to get nominated, Meg would do whatever she can to back him up and try to get him, to stay. I know Meg would do that. Same with James and Meg. So I really feel that going after Meg, it is a pretty good idea. Do I think it's what Johnny Mac should be doing? No, I don't think Johnny Mac should do that. Allying with Vanessa, I don't think is a good idea at all. I think if Vanessa brings Johnny Mac to the final two, she is definitely winning this game. Honestly, at this point, I could see a final three being possibly Vanessa, Johnny Mac, and Steve. Now, I know that Johnny Mac was the one that left, but we're going to get into who came back in the house, because the HOH competition literally ended a minute before I started this video. Yeah, it was that quickly. It was very quick, and basically, I'm actually think that what Johnny Mac says, it's a good idea, but I think he definitely should do more, that he should not go after Meg. He should go after James. If you really want to fracture that alliance, you got to go after James, and then Meg will be more expendable. You can either use her, or you can just cut her altogether. That's really what I think is the best thing to do there. So then we get, of course, to seeing the jury in the house, and I can definitely say this right now, Shelly is way too into it. Like, she already feels, you see Shelly, and I forgot to say this last week, it feels like Shelly is still playing the game. Like, to me, Shelly doesn't feel like a jury member. She seems like someone that's visiting the jury house. That's what it seems like to me, because she's way into the game, she's way into what's happening, and you can definitely tell that's going on. Jackie definitely is more calm and reserved, and then Becky shows up, and I didn't know something, I knew something happened with her toe, but I didn't think they'd cover it, and basically they do. Basically, she had like a toe infection, which is really bad, and basically then we get to the endurance, and I like that it was like Big Brother 15, because Big Brother 15 was really cool to watch, seeing them in Big Brother 15, but it was cool in Big Brother 15 because you had so many despised house guests, and there were so many things for them to say to the house guests, where here, there's not really much for them to say, so it really is not going to be nearly as entertaining, and I already know who won, because like I said, this endurance competition, HOH competition, went by like that, so I can already tell you, Johnny Mac is now back in the house, and Vanessa has won HOH. Now, definitely, I think this is a good advantage for Johnny Mac, because he wanted to ally with Vanessa. My question is Vanessa going to ally with him? Now, he did say that they're kind of split up into duos right now. They are, besides Steve. Steve, there's I believe, 7 people in the house. Let me think about this. Austin, Liz, Julia, James, Meg, Johnny Mac, Vanessa, Steve. No, there's 8 people. There's 8 people, so you figure Austin, the twins, then you have James and Meg, and then you have Johnny Mac, Steve, and Vanessa. That's really what it comes down to. So we basically are doing a reset of this week, except I feel like we're in for a much more productive week, because I think Vanessa has a lot more planned than Austin did. Plus, Vanessa kind of controlled Austin's HOH like she has every week, so I definitely see more happening this week. That's really why I can't really say much about this week, guys. It was a very strange week in terms of HOH and things like that, because Austin really did nothing, and I think Vanessa definitely can do more. Now, am I upset with what Johnny Mac said about going after Meg? I think he has a good idea. I just don't think his target is right. I think Johnny Mac definitely wants to get into the game. I don't think he has the right target, though. That's really what I think it comes down to, is that I think that he, definitely has his head in the right place. but I don't think he has the right target, and I think Vanessa will help him out with that. We'll have to see where that goes. I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen with Johnny Mac. Are they going to do what they did with Judd in Big Brother 15, where he starts out with a clean slate and basically allies with people they didn't ally with before? Or is it going to be like Big Brother 16, where they completely ignore him and then he just leaves the week after? That's what happened with Nicole, obviously, because it was, you know, she was basically not even there. I mean, she was there, she was playing very hard, but they really ignored her, and it was very rude what they were doing to her. So I don't know really what's going to happen. Now, next week is Double Eviction. This week is Double Eviction, and like I said, if you guys know on Double Evictions, I review Sunday and Wednesday's episode Wednesday, and then of course I'll review Thursday's episode Thursday, so look forward to that. I will definitely be doing that. We're in for an interesting double eviction. I don't really know what's going to happen. I hope more happens in this double eviction than the last one. I hope Steve doesn't win HOH because, God help us all, who knows what he's going to do. But I'm very surprised that Jackie or Becky didn't win this competition. I think it was just that, I don't know, maybe Becky because of the toe infection, and I honestly don't know, guys. I mean, Becky always seemed to be great in those physical competitions, as did Jackie, and I'm pretty surprised that they didn't get back into the house, because I would have thought that out of anyone, really, I would have thought Jackie or Becky, not Johnny Mac, but it's basically a revolving door. So we have a replay of this week, and that really is what happened now, and basically we'll have to see what happens this week. So I really can't say anything else about this week, guys. I know this was kind of an uneventful review, but that's because this week itself was kind of uneventful. Again, this is not a rant, because I still really do like this season, and I really do like the people in it. That's really why I will never do a rant on this show, because I like the people in the season, minus Austin and Liz. I kind of am starting to like Vanessa, kind of not, still don't really like Vanessa, but I'm starting to like her gameplay. I don't really like her as a person, but I do like her gameplay. I will definitely say that. I think some of the things she's doing, she's definitely letting her morals get in the way of her game, and I think when you're in the house, you kind of gotta let that slide and put all of the morals and things like that aside and just play the game and don't let anything affect you. And again, I know it seems hard to do, but think of the great players in this game, like Dan, for example. He once said in Big Brother 14 that when he enters the house, he cuts his heart out and just lays his emotions out on the table and basically just plays the game with no heart, and I think that really is the best way to play the game, and I think Vanessa could do that if she doesn't cry all the time, which she does a lot, and I think she needs to stop that. And yeah, so basically nothing really happened this week. Austin wasted his HOH. What do you guys think is going to happen this week? Who do you think Vanessa is going to go after? What's going to happen to the double eviction? I mean, it definitely is not going to be as eventful as a double eviction week as it was the week before, so we'll have to see the last double eviction. I mean, we'll have to see what happens with that. But we are now a month till this thing ends, and do you think James or Meg, do you think Johnny Mac is a good idea going after Meg? What do you guys think about that? I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. Also, this endurance competition sucked. It really did. I mean, the fact that it only lasted like 2 minutes more than when they ended is ridiculous. They need to make a much longer endurance competition, because that is just ridiculous that they're doing that. But that's basically it for this review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I know, again, there really is not a lot to talk about, but I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for a movie review, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.